Welcome back to It's Only Embarrassing If You're Embarrassed podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in today. This episode, I am going to share about 3 lessons that I learned from my divorce. And so if you guys have been following along, I got together with my ex-husband when I was 18, got married probably at 22 or 23, split up with him about 28, went through about a 1.5-year long messy divorce, and now I've been divorced for about 6 months. So I wanted to share with you guys 3 things that I learned from my divorce and really just pass along some lessons for if you're going through it, some things that I wish I had known or that I wish somebody had told me or shared with me. So, first lesson I learned from my divorce: feel, heal, and forgive as quickly as you can for your sake. And so I always heard the saying growing up that hating other people or being angry with other people is like drinking poison that you want to give to somebody else. It doesn't do what you think that it does. And so one thing that I definitely had at the beginning of my divorce definitely was a lot of anger and animosity and just like frustration and resentment and just all these different feelings. And so in hindsight, I wish I would have like felt all those feelings and healed through all those feelings like right at the beginning instead of just putting them off or acting like they didn't bother me that much, or a little bit of both. Because once you can heal those things, you're able to forgive, and once you forgive, you're really able to come out on the other side a better and a stronger person. So I wanted to share a story kind of as it resonates to the topic of forgiveness and really just moving on from situations that hurt you. So this past week I had to go to like a little mediation between some people at work that weren't getting along, didn't want to work together, all that good stuff. So we go through this, kind of collaborative training process / kind of like mediation, talking about 5 ways to let somebody know that they hurt your feelings or disrespected you at work, 9 ways to have difficult conversations, and some ways that they're able to use these tools to be able to better navigate conflict in the future. So we get done with this kind of long process, long conversation, very deep conversation, a lot of stuff comes out, and would you believe that we get done with this, and one of the guys at the end is like, well, I will never forgive him and I will never get over this because that's just how I am. I just hold grudges and I resent people forever and I never let it go, but it doesn't hurt them, it only hurts me. So like, it doesn't matter. I can do that if I want to. And I was like, okay, so this guy understands that this concept and this thing that he's doing only hurts himself, it doesn't hurt anybody else. So why is he still doing it? And then I thought, holy shit, Madison, you do the same thing. And it's so funny because I actually gave him in this scenario the example of my ex-husband, dead ass, me doing HR. I'm like, let me tell you why you shouldn't do that. I'm like, on a personal note, that's what I did with my ex-husband. Like, I just held this grudge, I resented him, and like, he's out there living his best life, not caring or even knowing that I still have anger towards him. And that is dumb, ladies and gentlemen. Do not give somebody who's no longer in your life your time, your energy, your anger, because all of those things just detract from all the great things you could be having in your life instead. All right, so the second lesson that I learned from my divorce is to be okay with people not knowing your side of the story. So whenever I split up with my ex-husband, he was like determined to like come up with a story and a narrative and like tell everybody this story and narrative like that we'd ever met in our entire lives. Like, didn't matter if we hadn't talked to them in years, they needed to know according to him. And obviously this was like a very like, not maybe factual version of, kind of why we split up. And so I remember for a long time I was very frustrated with like wanting to like feeling like I wanted other people to know my side. And then I realized like the people that I actually am like keeping in my new life, like they already know. Like everybody that moved with me from like that phase of life to my new phase of life, like knew the truth, knew why I was splitting up with my ex-husband, knew all the ins and outs and the challenges and everything in between. And I didn't owe anybody an explanation, nor did I need to be worried about what a single other person thought about me or that situation or any of it at all. So within that, that was something that I wish somebody would have told me definitely from the beginning, is that I wish somebody had told me to not be worried about other people knowing my side. You guys, my vacuum stole the show for a second there. So I have one of those vacuums that like bebops around and cleans your house. Love it. First of all, life hack. But it always comes in the most inconvenient places at the most inconvenient times. Like, this is real first world problems, I want to clarify. But I put this baby like by my back door to like vacuum up this little spot by my back door, and then here he is on the other side interrupting my podcast. But that's how it goes. Anyways, back to what we were talking about. So be okay with people not knowing your side, because your people, the people that are actually your people, they already know. And those people who are speculating, they're just nosy, have nothing else to do, more interested in your life than theirs. I don't know. There's like no good people are like that worried about what's going on in your divorce if they aren't being like, told, So I remember whenever I'd been split up with my ex for probably like a little bit less than a year, and I hung out with somebody that I hadn't hung out with since I had been with him, and it was somebody that we were kind of friends with, this couple, and we would kind of hang out with them. And so it was the girl and the couple. We went and we grabbed lunch, and I remember her telling me, like, probably like towards the end of the lunch, like something to the effect of like, oh yeah, like I wanted to like reach out and see how you were doing, but like I just like didn't really want to like get in the middle of it or like be involved in the drama or like whatever. And in my mind I thought, I'll never see you again after this conversation. Like, we're done here. Because like this person in the background was like still hanging out with my ex when he was like wanting to talk to everybody about our situation, and like posting on social media that she was like hanging out with him and like all this stuff. And so it's like, you wanted to be there for the drama, you just literally were never there for me and weren't a good friend for me. And like, thank you for literally pointing that out, so we can never see each other again, because there's not really a reason to. And I say that just because like this was probably somebody who I probably did care about what they thought about the narrative at one point. And then I sat down and I had this conversation and I realized, like, not only do I not care about what this person thinks about me, but also like they truly are just like around for the drama and like to catch up on like the latest tea, and probably only wanted to go out to lunch with me to like see if I would like talk shit about my ex, to which they like brought up my divorce, and I was just like, oh yeah, kind of on to the next thing, and like didn't really entertain it. And it's like almost like she was like, oh man, I thought we were gonna talk shit, and it's like, no, I don't want to spend my free time doing that. So that is why you should be okay with people not knowing your side, because those people are probably never gonna be people you're gonna see or hang out with ever again. So why do you care what they think? All right, lesson number 3 that I learned from my divorce is you should be excited about your new life, new opportunities, the ability to create whatever life you want, the ability to create a life that's different than any life you've ever had. Like, you can do that if you're getting divorced. Even if you're not getting divorced, you're graduating from college and you're moving away and you're starting a new life, you are getting divorced, you're breaking up with your long-term boyfriend, you're whatever. One of the really cool pieces about change that we always overlook is that you're now in a position where you get to create your own new reality, you get to create your own new life, you get to really do all the things that before you thought like, damn, I would do this if I wasn't with my significant other. I had a lot of those personally, and now guess what? I do all of them, and it's wonderful. So with this, as far as like, if you're like, okay, Madison, literally what do I have to be excited about while I'm literally going through a divorce? What is there? Let me give you some options. Glad you asked. Things you can be excited about: new relationships, new friendships, new romantic relationships at some point, new people that you just hang out with that your ex would have always thought was lame that you can now hang out with, because really those are your people. Everybody in between. You can create a new routine. I have a completely different daily routine, weekly routine, monthly routine, life routine now than I did when I was with my ex-husband, and this new life and new routine is perfect for me. And that is something that I never even really knew that I could have or create on my own. And so it's been so cool to create that. Okay, other things you should be excited about: new space that's yours. I'm 30 years old and I just bought my very first place that is mine. And so by that I mean I lived with roommates when I was in college, and then I moved in with my ex-husband. So at no point in my adult life did I ever have my own place or any place that was mine that I could decorate however I want, that I could have freaking hot pink Maryland because I love it. Like, I never had that before. And so then when I was 30 and I was getting like, holy shit, I can literally like live anywhere I want. I can buy anything that I can afford. I can decorate it however I want. I can fucking paint the front door pink. I couldn't because I have an HOA, but you know what I mean. So that is another thing that I think is super exciting, is a new space that's yours. So I really want to close by just reminding everybody to, if you're going through a divorce, or if you're going through just a hard transition, a life transition, a difficult season of life, really focus on rebuilding to your enjoyment, whatever that looks like. And so rebuilding from your enjoyment might be you getting out of that relationship and realizing, man, half the things I've been doing, I was doing because they made him happy, not me. And now I'm going to do the things that make me happy. Or maybe it meant, man, we were spending money how he wanted to spend money. Now I can spend money how I want to spend money. All of those things are so freeing, so fun, so cool, and also really just allow you and enable you to create and build whatever life you want. If you guys haven't picked up on that, that's also like a pretty reoccurring theme of this podcast, is just creating the life you want, rebuilding that from wherever you're at, and just getting everything you want out of life. All right, little recap. 3 lessons I learned from my divorce. Feel, heal, and forgive as quickly as you can. Be okay with people not knowing your side of the story. And be excited about your new life that you get to create for yourself. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode of It's Only Embarrassing If You're Embarrassed podcast, a place where we talk about all things mental health, divorce, grief, anxiety, mental health meds, imposter syndrome, friendship breakups, and everything in between. So if you thought that somebody could benefit from hearing these 3 lessons I learned from my divorce, please share it with them. If you have some lessons that you learned from your divorce, drop them in the comments below. Would love to just share within the community, just different tips and tricks to encourage each other and help each other out. Thanks again for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share, do all the things. Thanks for tuning in, babes. And as always, happy healing.